Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are jumping into one of the most, I think, ambitious urban transformation projects in North America.
Hmm.
We're landing squarely in Montreal, specifically in its East End.
Right. An area that's long been, overshadowed by the West End.
Completely. It's always had that nickname, the poor relation of urban development.
Well, that whole decades-old narrative of industrial neglect seems to be, finally dissolving. The sources you shared detail this massive, high-stakes bet on the district.
And the cornerstone of it all is a master plan called Rives et de Rive.
Rives et de Rive, yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. Shores and drifts. That name, it's fascinating. It feels like it's immediately acknowledging the area's difficult past.
Oh, absolutely. The drifts of industrial contamination.
Right, while promising this future on the shores.
That duality is entirely intentional. I mean,
Yeah.
This is a $1.2 billion reclamation of the St. Lawrence riverbanks.
$1 billion.
It's all about transforming former industrial brownfields
Yeah.
and polluted wastelands really into a vibrant blue and green corridor.
So the name really embodies the mission.
Exactly, turning the liabilities of the past into the opportunities of the future.
So for you listening, what's our mission with this deep dive? What are we trying to figure out?
I think we need to analyze how this master plan really promises to redefine Montreal's socioeconomic identity. This isn't just a cleanup.
No, it's a radical restructuring.
It is. It's strategically located between Mercier-Hochelaga-Maisonneuve and the tip of the island, and the project has this dual objective. First, to physically reconnect neighborhoods. I mean, these places have been structurally cut off from the water for generations by heavy infrastructure.
Rail lines, highways, all of it.
Exactly. And second, and this is crucial, to create a brand new economic hub, one focused explicitly on sustainable innovation, moving beyond that old heavy industry and toward green tech.
So it's Montreal's attempt to reconcile its blue-collar history with a net zero future.
That's a perfect way to put it.
All right, let's talk about the financial core of this vision, because the scale is, it's breathtaking.
Yeah, it really is.
The estimated global budget for Rives et de Rives is $1.2 billion over 10 years.
That's the number.
Yeah.
And it's a mix of public funds and, strategic private partnerships.
This sounds less like city planning and more like a major civic intervention.
It is a massive intervention. Yeah. And what's fascinating here is how the city views the public money it's spending.
Okay.
It's not just an expenditure. It's leverage. The sources highlight this anticipated economic catalyst effect.
The multiplier.
The multiplier. For every single dollar of public money invested in the green network and river access.
Every dollar.
So things like parks, bike paths, remediation. The city anticipates $4.50 of private investment pouring in.
Whoa. That 450 multiplier is an incredible figure. Is that realistic?
Well, it absolutely represents a major risk, and it's critical we pause on that.
Okay.
It's an aggressive target. You see it associated with, highly successful urban transformations, like some of the dockland regenerations in Europe 30 years ago.
Right.
The city is essentially betting that if they build high-quality public space and transit, the land will become so valuable that private developers will just rush in.
But if that private investment lags,
then the whole $1.2 billion commitment becomes far, far more costly to taxpayers.
But if they hit that target, the returns are substantial. We're looking at, anticipated property tax revenue of about $45 million per year?
$45 million a year for the city once it's all complete. That helps replenish the public coffers.
And the jobs, it's focused on quality, not just quantity.
Exactly. I mean, 3,500 construction workers is significant, of course.
Sure.
But the long-term goal is that planned green tech innovation hub. That hub is expected to create over 1,200 permanent high-value added jobs.
So it fundamentally shifts the economic base of the East End.
That's the plan.
So given that huge financial bet, the goal can't just be to, maximize residential square footage. Success really hinges on whether people actually go there.
Right. How do you make it a genuine destination?
Yeah.
Well, they studied global success stories. This is designed to be a magnet, drawing inspiration from places like the High Line in New York.
Or the Promenade Samuel de Champlain in Quebec City, which is stunning.
Exactly. And the planning documents, they're not shy about it. Attendance forecasts predict 2.5 million annual visitors to the new riverfront promenade by 2030.
2.5 million.
That high volume of traffic tourists, locals, commuters, that's what validates the economic scale. That's what helps justify that $4.50 multiplier.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because if the East End was the poor relation, it was mainly because of mobility. It was classic car-centric suburbia, right?
Terrible public transit links.
And the core promise here is to reduce the average commute time to downtown by a jaw-dropping 25 minutes.
That promise, it isn't just an aspiration, it's a necessary form of social engineering.
How so?
The entire area is designed to become the East End's first true transit-oriented development, or TOD, neighborhood.
Right, a TOD. For anyone not familiar, that means high-density housing and commercial space built right around fast, frequent public transit.
And deliberately minimizing the need for cars, limited parking, prioritizing bikes and pedestrians.
And the success of this whole vision, it all hinges on the public transit backbone, which is the future Eastern Tramway, the PSE.
Precisely. And this is where we have to remember the history. You might recall the political pushback and, well, the eventual abandonment of the Rem de l'Est.
The elevated metro, yeah.
The planners learned from that failure. They pivoted. They're now favoring a more integrated light rail, a tramway, or an advanced BRT system.
Which is cheaper and easier to blend into the streets.
And politically much more palatable.
So what are the key details of this PSE?
The master plan requires a major multimodal station right at the neighborhood's core, probably on Notre Dame Street. And if they hit their target capacity,
which is?
Passages every 4 minutes during peak hours.
Every 4 minutes.
This tramway is designed to absorb a massive 60% of the new residents' commuting trips.
60%. That's a radical commitment to public transit for a North American city. If those numbers fail, the roads will be gridlocked.
Instantly.
But the East is still pretty far from the existing metro, right? The Green Line stations, Radisson, Honoré-Beaugrand.
Yes, and that last mile problem is critical.
How do they solve it?
They're bridging that gap with dedicated rapid bus corridors. The plan mandates permanent reserved lanes for electric buses to connect the revitalize site to those stations in less than 10 minutes.
And I see there's a specific budget for that, $45 million.
Right. $45 million set aside specifically for those bus corridors, and this is key securing pedestrian crossings over what the planning documents call hostile arteries.
Unpack that term for us, hostile arteries.
It's a functional term. These are the physical barriers that have historically cut the East End off.
The big highways.
Major infrastructure like Highway 25 or these huge busy streets like Sherbrooke. They're designed for cars and trucks, not for people. That $45 million is about healing those urban breaks, ensuring safe access over or under them.
Okay, so that handles the highways, but the sources also mention another resource, the XO5 commuter train line.
The Mascouche line. Yeah, that's a smart move. Historically, it's just been a, park and ride lot surrounded by asphalt.
A remote drop-off point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're turning it into a true neighborhood station, accessible by foot and bike. It's taking existing heavy rail and rebranding it for local use.
And the time impact of that.
It's crucial. It allows residents to reach Central Station in about 40 minutes, completely bypassing bridge congestion into downtown.
So it gives people a credible choice that can actually compete with driving.
A reliable one, yes.
And finally, embracing the St. Lawrence itself. The project fully integrates the river into how people move.
Yes, through active mobility. They're planning a municipal wharf for river shuttles.
A water taxi, basically.
A unique mode of transit, yeah. It would connect the site to the old port in just 35 minutes during the season, May to October.
And bicycling.
Foundational. They're integrating a 4-season bicycle highway, or IV, and they're mandating secure indoor bike parking for any new residential building.
So if you're going to be a true TOD neighborhood.
Active mobility has to be central to the social contract. And that leads us right to the social contract, the elephant in the room.
Gentrification?
Gentrification. Whenever a city injects $1.2 billion into a historically working-class area, that specter looms large.
This is probably the biggest social risk the project faces.
It has to prove its social acceptability to the existing community, or it fails.
And this is where the strict guidelines come in. The city is imposing the 20-20-20 rule.
Which sounds like a radical policy for a major North American city.
It is radical, and it's not a suggestion, it's a mandate.
Okay, so what is it?
It dictates that 20% of new housing must be social housing, 20% affordable housing, and 20% designated for family.
And why is that so radical?
Because it forces private developers to absorb the upfront cost of meeting those social priorities. They can't just rely on government subsidies to close the gap later.
So it's built-in, mandatory inclusion from day one.
Exactly. And if we look at the hard numbers, out of the 4,000 planned residential units, 800 will be permanent social housing.
Managed by nonprofits or cooperatives.
That's a huge institutional commitment to housing equity.
It's a mechanism designed to prevent displacement. Traditional development, it just pushes lower-income residents out as property values skyrocket. The 20-20-20 rule tries to integrate housing across all income levels permanently.
So the benefits are shared.
That's the goal.
Okay, that addresses who can afford to live there, but what about public access to the main prize, the river itself?
That's the second pillar of the social contract. The sources really emphasize keeping the riverbanks a common good. A full 35% of the total area is dedicated to parks, public squares, and direct water access.
That's a huge percentage of the land.
And it's a direct philosophical contrast to those privatized developments of the past, where waterfronts get walled off. Here, the green and blue corridor is explicitly for everyone.
So if you connect this to the bigger picture, it sounds like the planners are trying to change the soul of the East End, but without destroying it.
Exactly. It's Montreal attempting this radical transformation, turning contaminated soils into living environments, replacing concrete with biodiversity, and trying to densify without distorting that historic working-class character.
So this is where it all comes together. If we pull back from the specific budgets, the transit details, Rives et de Rive feels like more than a construction site.
Oh, absolutely. It's a live urban laboratory.
A laboratory testing modern solutions to post-industrial decay.
And that whole narrative of the poor relation East End seems to be reaching its final chapter.
Ah.
Montreal is showing real confidence that it can fix major environmental contamination, address historic mobility failures, and mandate genuine social equity.
All within a single master plan.
All at once. It feels like Eastern Montreal is finally ready to stop simply watching the river flow by and to start fully inhabiting it.
Using the St. Lawrence not just as scenery,
but as an integral part of its economy, its mobility, and its community identity.
So I guess the question worth mulling over for you is this. Given the three major gambles, that aggressive $4.50 private investment multiplier, the wholesale break from car culture, and that radical 2020 inclusion policy, does the Montreal model prove that sustainable, inclusive urban transformation is truly possible on this scale?
Or is this simply too big a dream for any industrial city to realize without some major compromise along the way? That's the challenge every city with a neglected industrial waterfront is watching.
Is this the definitive modern template?
Is this the template for a green, inclusive metropolis? We'll see.
Thank you for sharing your sources. We hope this deep dive has given you a shortcut to being truly well-informed on Montreal's next great metamorphosis.